And we're back with another Red Squirrel podcast. I'm Rick.
I'm Josh.
We're here with Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
We'll talk to him in a minute. We're going to talk about the music we're listening to first, and Josh will start.
Okay. Exhumed Horror on Relapse. I like that a lot. The Boy Harsher, Country Girl Uncut. Lightning Bolt, Sonic Citadel on Thrill Jockey. I like that Fawning Too Late record on Graveface, which is kind of like...
Technically on their new import name,
Imprint.
Not Goth.
Imprint.
Yeah, Imprint is what I meant to say.
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
No, it's Goth, you know.
Yeah.
It's never not.
Goth.
Yeah. And then
001. Yeah.
I like this too. I don't know.
He's holding the Angel Olsen record.
Yeah. It's a physical podcast.
I like the last one a lot, but this one didn't grab me.
I don't know. I listened to it twice. I think I'm going to make a decision on the third run.
Yeah.
That's pretty much everything that's new that I've been listening to.
Right. I also had the Boy Harsher on my list. It was originally released by Ascetic House. I'll just put that out there as a 4-track EP, and then they added 8. They added 4 more to make it 8 total, which is nice. And then I have like 3 reissue / re-release type things right off the top. The Jean Grey, Blue Sky Black Death, The Evil Genius is like a 2008 album, but it's the first time on actual vinyl, so that's cool.
Must be candid, lust is no damage, and plus be no standards, and love be lush. Yes, what's best for me never seems to ever be what's next to me. Exception, you. So excuse me if I question too thorough or keep you waiting. I might break down, shake defense off, change mind, change clothes, and take the weekend off.
I'll take you away with me.
For press use only, Baby Grand Records.
Speech after removal of the larynx, which, if you know me, I buy a lot of sound effects records. So
Yeah, it's...
I assumed it was like a grindcore band.
No, it is literally the sound of speech after the removal of the larynx. It was originally released by Folkways. They also have a bunch of sound effects records themselves, It's pretty apropos for Halloween time.
I collect Folkways records, not that one.
It sounds
It's
scary.
also expensive.
It's the original is expensive. It goes
Yeah.
for like $70 to $100.
Yeah, it's way too much.
But the reissue's like $20. So
Sure.
grab the reissue.
Yeah, run out and grab that one.
Run out and grab this. Yeah, Halloween, spooky.
It is possible to make the pitch lower and higher. And also I can make the intensity softer and more loud. Now I have got this upgrade and I must say it is quite a progress. Formerly I had many friends, it was miserable.
And then two things that I have to like see if the store can even get, but I've been listening to a bunch lately. I think we might have had it at one time, but like the Mistherming and the Deathspell Omega that both came out on that French label, Norma Evangelium Diabole. They both came out back in May, but I've been listening to a lot lately. And then SA Pass, or SAE Pass, however you pause.
Yeah.
It's the Marie Davidson Pierre Goreneau project on DFA. It's just 2 songs and then the first song remixed, Earth. It's good. If you are familiar with Marie Davidson and you want more pop leaning stuff, that's that.
Earth, man. What a shithole.
I need to get out of here. Oh, baby doll. I can face the mirror.
Slickback, which is electronic, like dance record. I'm gonna attempt to pronounce the first track, Lhasa Keneku, and then Tomo is the other one. It's on Hakuna Kolala Records. I like it. Party time.
Cool.
That's what I'm listening to.
How about you?
Paul, you got some recent listens?
I didn't realize that I was going to be with people who are like, oh, I know what's coming out in the last week.
You don't have to like. People
No.
often say things like just class. I listen to classic rock and here's Creedence and that's it.
I'm certainly a grandfather, but not that bad. I'll say the last few weeks for me have been really like the new Fuming Mouth record. Been listening to the new Bon Iver record a lot. I'm kind of transitioning my listening into like that fall sound. So the first or the second Panopticon record, Autumn Eternal, that's good right now. It's perfect. As the leaves change, it's kind of how I feel. And
I like that record.
I love that record. And I've been listening to the Sidekicks a lot. Which is like a summer band for me, but it's still kind of hanging over right now.
It's because we get that heat wave.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
It's 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah,
70-something degrees.
It's dumb. It was like 40 degrees in the morning, and then at like noon it's like 80, and I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, I had to defrost my windshield before I can come to work today.
All right, cool.
That's cool. Those are good things.
Wow, thank you.
I mean, if you want to add more, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Nah, I don't really listen to music. So.
So Paul's here because he makes music and releases music. He's got the label Howling Frequency, and he's currently in Chained to the Bottom of the Ocean. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Choose your own adventure.
Whatever makes you happy.
They both make.
I've got questions about both.
Let's go Howling Frequency first.
Okay.
'Cause
That's
well,
they both.
That's honestly less important to me.
Okay.
They both started in 2017.
Yeah, it's true, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost like one begot the other.
But my question is, are you mad at us for poaching your label?
I was going to bring this up. I was 100% going to bring this up.
Here's a weird thing, and Paul probably knows the bands, but we've only really announced one of them.
Oh, okay.
Should we announce any of the others?
It's a soft announce because
one of them is a question mark for me because I haven't gotten the update, but I'm pretty certain I know.
One isn't really a full release either, so like, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's
soft
time.
announce
I
on the
think it's time.
space.
I think it's
Soft
time to
announce
talk
on the
about.
Space Camp LP
which is looking like a
coming.
March release
of next year.
of
yeah.
next year, 2020 March.
Of 4 months ago. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how many months. I can't add. I
Whatever.
didn't even try. But yeah, we're doing Space Camp LP, and then we have the Maneva LP, which we announced at the last podcast.
Soft announcement.
Soft
Haven't
announcements
really
all
said
over
that.
the place.
And then
And then there's a third, which is honestly not
Is there
even.
a third poach?
Yeah.
Is it? It is? Really? Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us.
It could be a kind of flower.
Is that an LP?
No.
That'll probably just be a cassette.
yeah. Do you want to leave it there?
Yeah, that's all we need to say about that. People can figure that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go on the Bandcamp. There's like 6 bands. Only one of them is related to plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is not intentional. Like we didn't set
You
out.
saw that I have a vision, and you said, "Fuck
I
him."
think we have a similar vision. I think is what it is. Like we're more interested in the weird side of goings on, and so are you. And we're really only interested in what's going on around us, like in Connecticut, and as far as releases go. So, like,
and apparently Western Mass.
yeah.
They're the same. It's a circle.
If I had to draw a map of what I think the state actually looks
Where
like,
are you from originally?
I'm from Westfield, so
Yeah.
it's right there.
yeah. Springfield is like you could see the border. It's,
Yeah.
But yeah, we've always released, with the exception of the
Two bands?
Nyack, New York band, which is pretty close to Connecticut too, I guess. But
well, Dirt Devils
and
from
then
Western
Dirt
Mass,
Devils from Western Mass,
and then Hex Inverters from Pennsylvania.
and Connecticut, technically. Like,
Sort of. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
that one's just like an amalgamation of people from different places. One of them Connecticut, but anyway,
Digress.
or two, depending on the iteration. Anyway.
But we're definitely less interested in like straightforward indie rock or whatever. So
I mean, that's good.
yeah, but like that's why this is overlapping so hard.
I mean, there's only like genuinely, there's only so much music that's worth listening to, especially
Sure.
if you only go geographically like 50 miles from your home base.
Yeah.
So like it makes sense. I get it. I actually.
Do you actually have any ill feelings?
I saw the vision. No, because I really don't have that much money. And so,
Okay.
I think we mostly talked to Maneva about that particular aspect of it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Paul's cool." Plus, like, I don't know that much more was said about it.
I truly cannot provide what you would be able to provide in the same way. I'm not saying that that's good or bad. Just in that you are a step up from me in that regard. You have the connections. It makes more sense for bands to do that. Like, I put it online and I put up the money, but, like, I don't have anything else, really. So I get it. And I don't harbor any ill will. Like,
Okay.
I want all of my friends to do whatever is good for them. And this is good for them. Like, straight up, it's good for them.
Do you hear that, bands? It's good for
So
you.
everybody on Howling Frequency, get at us.
I mean,
No, we're not going to go that far.
It's pretty unfortunate that you drew the line at the Chained record, which I would have loved help with.
If
We
Dude.
weren't opposed to it.
Yeah.
If
It's too
it
late now,
were
isn't
brought
it?
to us, it
let's
is too
do
late
an
now.
let's do a record
Next
in the
record,
future.
come to us for sure.
We'll talk about the LP off air.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's another soft announce apparently.
didn't know it was a
I
possibility.
didn't either.
I'm waiting on Relapse to call me back.
I wouldn't.
We'll talk
rule
off air.
that out, you know. I would not rule that, or Southern Lord. You know, so we can talk about all the good fits. Yeah.
I do have one ill will, which is you sold one of Chain's first LPs used for $4.
Oh, no.
People message me all the time. You have one? I'll give you $50. You have one? I'll give you $100. And I'm like, I have one that's framed at my mom's house.
Do you know how long ago it was?
It was shortly after it came out, so it wasn't worth that. It probably was worth $4 when you sold it for $4.
I'm trying to think how we got one used.
Yeah,
There
I have no idea.
Was it last year or the year before? Would have been the year
early
before.
Early
17.
18, probably.
I don't know.
The record came out.
We
but didn't-
definitely weren't aware of the band.
Yeah.
Other than like
Obviously.
looking it up and like
being like, what the fuck is this?
we don't know.
It was like completely unlabeled, basically. So like,
If it makes you feel any better, it's currently in my Discogs want list. I'm waiting for it to show up again, where I'm going to pay $30 or $40 or $50 for it at least.
yeah, I don't know why, but people want it, and I.
So
cannot-
we're mad at ourselves
Yeah,
too.
I
is
cannot
basically
provide
what
it.
that's
You
coming to.
you lost about 900% on that sale.
I guess.
So take that.
If it makes you feel any better, there was at some point some sort of Discogs merger between a CD and LP version of this local metal thing that's like from the 70s that was like a big deal, where the LP is worth like $750 to $1,000 and the CD's worth like $15. Someone did this merger, and then someone here sold a copy of the LP for what the CD was worth. And one of our ex-employees brings this up constantly, where he is super mad that this happened, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Like, you know, sometimes somebody doesn't know. That's all it boils down to.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just money. Plus, I bet whoever has that record is stoked.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think he
And
is.
if not, they know who to sell it to now.
Yeah.
If they're listening.
Sell
to
it
this.
back to me, please.
Yeah.
Man, so we upset this history of the sales and everything.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, like, because that was probably like one of the early ones to sell then. So then it looks like it started selling at $4. That's terrible. I'm sorry. Man.
Yeah, you can't come back from that. I know.
No, I can't. Are you planning to release anything else? Like, do you have anything like...
So the one release you have this year is a German band.
It's true.
So that's not anywhere near us. That's not the 50-mile radius.
That is not the 50.
we
miles.
definitely won't poach that.
Probably won't poach that one.
So how'd you hook up with them?
That band, the guitar
And how do you
player-
pronounce it?
Don't ask me.
Okay,
that.
okay.
Don't ask me that. I
Just
don't-
check out the link on the post I make.
The singer of that band has done a bunch of logos for me and like a bunch of artwork. And he reached out and was like, "Hey, so you do this thing? Would you be interested in this?" And I checked it out and I was like, "Of course I'll do this." I'm not saying I rarely say no, but like rarely do people bring me things that I don't like.
For people that you have a relationship
Yeah,
with.
yeah. Because most of those people
Yeah.
already know what I like.
Have you had unsolicited, like...
Yes. Have I handled them properly? Not all of them.
Okay. Has any of them resulted in a release?
Not from anyone I didn't know.
Okay.
Not from anyone I straight up didn't
that's
know.
what I mean. Yeah.
There was one that I was excited about and wanted to do, and then as I talked to the person more, I was like, I don't know
That's
about...
part of the
I don't
thing,
know
man.
about
It's,
you.
it's not
Yeah.
just about releasing something you like. It's about releasing
Yeah.
something you like with people you can
Yeah,
deal with.
exactly,
on some
exactly.
kind of level, yeah.
And it was good. I liked the music, and I was like, I think I can do this. And then I like talked about a year from now, like, what do you want this band to do? Or, like, 3 years from now? Or, like, what's your vision for, like, this project? And I was like, this does not align with who I am as a person at all. It's not for me. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been cursed many times with, well, especially Josh has, even before I was involved, but, like, just bands breaking up as soon as the release comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. It sucks. Lately it's more bands have gone dormant. In the last, like, 5 years, it's like we've put out the LP and then the band or artist has just stopped playing shows, and, like, that's the end. What are you going to do?
Or plays a show every 6 months in their own hometown area. Like,
Yeah.
Like, that's not that helpful. And
It's fine.
it's not terrible. Like, I don't,
You know, we set out.
still like the
We set out
record.
with whenever we release something, we set out like we're losing money on this. Like
yeah.
we have no like plan to ever recoup.
100%.
Like
100%.
Yeah, it's total promotional budget for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like we could take out fucking newspaper ads or something, or we could release a record, and it's,
Right.
releasing a record will actually be better promotion than print ads or
Yeah.
whatever.
The main goal is to get them out there as far and wide and
Yeah.
promote the bands and promote us.
Yeah, and it's dealing locally where you could talk to the person face to face is like infinitely easier than trying to deal with someone over the phone or, I guess the German guy, it's mostly email,
Facebook, email.
email.
But, like, because he's done stuff for me and I've done stuff for him, and, like, I see, like, our circles overlap so much, or, like, he plays with other bands that, like, are tangentially related, and, like, the snowball, like, keeps getting bigger, and, like, he associates with so many people that I associate with that I'm like, he's got to be good enough as a person. So
Yeah, vetting people like that, like, super hard.
yeah,
So what's the German thing sound like?
it's like it's like black metal,
Okay.
like some dirty black metal.
Okay. So I don't want to step on your toes.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Because I'm kind of going to pivot to chain things. Because it's
Okay. Well,
so you got the new record coming out, which is kind of like worlds collide again.
Bit of a new record, yeah, you could say that.
have you been sitting on it a while?
No.
Just been playing the material a while?
Yeah, but in some fairness, we didn't. The songs were not 100% until literally the day before we recorded them. So, we've been playing iterations of them or one of them for a while. But, yeah, this is definitely the most streamlined thing I've ever done for a record, where, like, back when we put out the last EP in, I think it was December of last year, once we had done that and it was out, I basically organized with everybody. I was like, I don't want to do this the way we just did it ever again, because it was like one thing was done and then we were waiting for the art, or then we were waiting for the records, and I didn't know if we were going to have everything in time for, like, the release date, but we were sick of waiting and didn't want to wait till 2019 to put it out, and it just, like, kind of got out of control. And then I didn't know when we were going to be able to tour on it, because I didn't want to play, like, no shows for it. So this time we were like, let's line up a whole year at once, figure out, like, chunks of time where everything can happen, and set a date, a vague, like, outline of dates where it could come out, and then hopefully everything will fall into place within that. So we recorded in February, I think. And before we even recorded, I already asked the guy who does our art about the art, when we could have that ready, send him some demos so he kind of got the vibe. And he's the same one that did the last record, so he already gets the vibe well enough. So it was just, like, about actually getting our ducks in a row for the first time. I've been in bands for, like, 10 years, and I've never had my ducks in a row. And this is the first one, and it feels so good to know, like, so next Friday, the record comes out, then Saturday we're playing Stoned to Death in Vermont, then a week and a half after that we go on tour for 2 weeks, and it's like wow, we actually planned it where we're going to put out a record and then go on tour with just enough time for people to have listened to it, checked it out, but it's still fresh.
Yep.
It's not like 4 months later. It's not before it comes out so people don't know it. And I'm so excited that it all lined up. Everything worked out. I have the records. I've never had the records before a release date. Never had the records before a release date.
It's a hard thing to, like, even, I think the reduction plan is the first one we've released with a release date before we had the records. We've always waited, even for Kidnapped, like, we waited till the records were physically in our hands before
Kidnapped
we even announced, like, what
Kidnapped
the
it was
release
just
date
like a
was.
tentative, like, it's going to be the end of July,
Yeah.
you know. But it just worked out to get it. We were still able to get it to distributors and stuff for the street date, which was good. So how many did you press?
250.
Low number.
Minimum.
Low number.
I've never done more than 250. Not putting the cart before the horse. This is the first one that'll sell out.
Yeah, I definitely.
And it feels so good. I cannot tell you how good it feels. Like,
How many are already gone in pre-order?
I'm not gonna tell you that. Those are stats numbers.
Okay, they're pretty much all gone in pre-order.
Yeah. I would say, I cut off the pre-order number to take some on tour so they don't entirely sell out.
Yeah.
That's great.
But
Yeah.
I'm assuming that by release date they
Will you do a repress, or are you hesitant on that?
I'm not opposed to doing it, but what I want to do instead of a repress is I want to do the first 3 as a collection.
Okay.
Because it could be just a double LP.
Can we do that?
I would be happy to talk about
He
that.
wants
Yeah.
to talk about it after. I didn't want to push you on it.
Because the second 2 effectively are not that anybody cares, but they're like 2 sides of a coin.
Okay.
So like they're both 3 songs. They both open with a cover. They both are titles that are from literary works. Like there's a bunch of parallels that nobody cares about that we all spent so much time. Like,
I mean, by all means, inform us.
Yeah.
we're getting there. We're going.
Okay. I don't want to push you.
Yeah. This new one coming out next week, and then the last one, they both have like a bunch of parallels that like work off of each other, and I think even in like writing the riffs and the songs, there were some parallels that like I put in without really thinking about it, just like knowing that I wanted them to be like interlocked. And that first release is effectively, it was a throwaway demo. Like for me, I was like, I want to do this, and our bass player's moving across the country. Like, let's just record this before he leaves. Let's just do it. And like, let's have fun. Like, I want to remember like this time with these people in this band, and I just want to like have something that I can remember, like what we did as this band. And we did it, and there's like offhanded jokes on that record that nobody knows about, that I'm just like, I cannot believe people like this record. I was not expecting anybody to care about that record, which is why we didn't press vinyl at first. We didn't do that until like 3 or 4 months later. We got a bunch of money from all the orders from just cassette shirts and CDs, and I was like, guys, you want to that's only, that one's out of 100. I was like, you want to press 100? Had a friend of mine screen print the covers. Like, that one's very like rough around the edges. Like, let's just do what we can to kind of get this together and see if people like it. And that sold out in like a month. And I don't know how. I don't know how any of this happened.
I mean, no one can really wrap their heads around how things are cult.
Yeah.
You know, it probably helps that you don't have any information out there. Like, there's nothing about your band.
The fake elusiveness has been incredible marketing. And I am behind it because I am behind it both as a joke and as actual, because I do think that a lot of bands historically are popular because of how they look or who they are or whatever.
Sure.
And one of the first reviews of that record, I think it was like a song premiere or something, the article said like, I wonder what other bands these these like New England behemoths are from or something like that. It's like we're 4 kids who are in art punk bands and hardcore bands. Nothing like this.
Yeah.
They thought we were like members of
Superstars.
Grief and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and I was like, no, we're just 4 dumb kids. Like,
Well, I didn't know.
Not that dumb turns out.
yeah,
I didn't know about Chain until we interviewed Space Camp, and like it got brought up sort of like just like it was like
I remember. It's like,
quip.
oh, there's this other band I'm in.
Yeah.
It's like the end of the conversation.
Yeah, so like it was after that I was like, oh, let me check that out. So then I was like, oh, let me get the record. Oh no, you're not getting the record.
To bring it back to Howling Frequency, is that part of the reason you don't keep the Discogs up to date?
I have a frustrating relationship with Discogs in that I have tried to catalog the records that I own maybe once or twice, and then I was just fuck this. I'm done with this. I'm never going on this website again.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for sure.
I get that Discogs probably has value for me as someone who puts out records.
Yeah.
But selling them is not even close to a priority for me, which is that's the dumbest thing I could say. Selling records is not-
No. I get it because we understand putting out records to not make money.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, selling them
So we
is
get
literally
it.
not a priority for me. So if they're on Bandcamp and that's the only place they are, oh well. I give out so many records. You have no idea how many records I give out for free. I think that's actually part of the Chain success story, is that first
Well, I hope you do some trading too.
nothing.
No?
I don't want people's garbage. Do you know how many times I'm on tour and someone's like, "Yo, let me trade
Oh, that's
shirts,"
different.
and
That's
I'm like,
different. Yeah.
"Yeah, I'd rather not." Thanks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Your merch is super limited. Like
It is.
your
Sorry.
shirts are like normally like 25 or whatever. Like
We
it's
do a
low.
lot of really short run designs that I cook up in 15 minutes and say, "Hey, everybody, I got a really great."
Are you
idea."
printing those yourself, or you have a friend who does those?
The short runs, I have a friend do the like album cover ones. Like we have a
Did you do the tie dye yourself?
yes, we did.
Was that fun?
Well, the drummer did it. So
Okay.
the band, yes. Me specifically, no.
I only know. Can you tell? You want to
No, I
go leave it a
I'm
mystery?
not doing names.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. It's cool. I'm sorry. I said.
It's a-
You know what? Matter of fact, every time I said, bleep it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
sure.
I should bleep out my name the times that this is exclusive. You can
Only when referencing the band will we bleep out the name.
Yeah.
Well,
So obviously, nothing more about the band you want to say. Like we can't talk about formation or anything like that.
yeah, I'm happy to talk about that stuff.
Okay.
I know that sounds
Sounds
silly.
Trying to figure out how I could
here's-
ask any
You
questions
can
about.
ask anything you want. I'll just tell you why I don't care about names. I'll talk about almost anything else about it, and I don't think anybody else in the band feels as strongly as I do about this, and that's fine. But I think that once you start putting names to it, it actually takes away from the unit,
Yeah, I know. I get that.
and I just think it's whack. Like,
No, I totally get
if
it.
I'm in a band that's like intense and serious, and then on Facebook it's like members, Alex, Tom, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about these people. Like, if you're a monolithic band that really wants to put out a message, your name shouldn't come first. They should maybe come last. Like, I'll talk to anybody. I'll be happy to, like, I'm not hiding. I just
I get it.
don't think it's important.
we should point out that you are wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's true.
Wrapped in a chain.
Sure.
It's like 80 pounds. My head is
Somehow it's silent. I don't know.
Insert a chain noise, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Do that.
Some ghosts.
So limited merch probably helps with the cult status thing.
But half of the limited merch is a joke. Like the gritty shirts. You remember that?
Yeah.
Another thing? We did-
I've gone back on your Twitter to see it.
Okay.
Because it's before I knew about your band.
Yeah. The first shirt we ever did was just a stack of my amps. I just took a picture of all my amps.
People love that.
Oh, well, I love that. Come on, that's who I
Who
am.
doesn't love a wall of
Yeah,
amps?
that's just who I am.
So the packaging, let's talk about that. So
you started with formation. Are we leaving?
I don't know how to frame a question. If you want to tell us what you feel we should
Tell us
know
the
about
story of the
formation.
band. Yeah, just tell us the story.
Everyone in Original Chain met on Craigslist.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I met the original basis of Chained is not the current basis of Chained. We met on Craigslist like a year prior to Chained's formation. Tried to play in other bands, just never worked. I met our drummer also on Craigslist, different, unrelated, and then we kind of knew who each other were from playing like the same shows, but in bands that were not heavy. I played drums in like an artsy punk band called D.I.Y, and he played drums in like a scramsy emo band called Empty Grows Every Bed. He was also in the hardcore band Last Lights for a while.
That's the band where the singer died?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're not particularly versed in this style. It's not like we're both in metal bands, like you want to start a metal band. But this is just what we like, and it just kind of worked out. So I had some riffs, and I hung out with just the drummer first, and we like kind of cobbled some stuff together, and I was like, I think this might work. And then the singer I met on Craigslist when he was 13 and I was 15 or 16. That was this is a great story. We trying to start a band at these ages, but like neither of us could play anything at 13 and 16. So it was me and two of my friends from high school, and he was singing then, and we played just covers. Like we just learned covers, and we played his middle school dance. He was in 8th grade and I was in 11th grade maybe. Played his middle school dance, played some cover songs. It was as embarrassing as you could probably imagine. But that was like a foundational moment for he and I's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've known him ever since, and there's weird periods of time where we both do different things and don't talk in there. But then hung out with the drummer for a while, brought the bassist into the mix, and then one day just called him, and I was like, do you want to try screaming in a band? Like, I know you've always wanted to sing, and like, he likes Me Without You and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know we've danced with this idea before, and it's never really worked, but do you want to try it? He was like, yeah, let's try it. And it just, I remember the first few practices where we were all there, and I had like some vague outlines of like riffs and songs, and it just locked in. I was like, he knows what he's doing. Like, we're doing this. This is it. So yeah, it's like a 12-year Craigslist like puzzle coming together.
I don't think I've ever heard of a Craigslist
Of a
band
band
actually working out.
Yeah.
And ever.
It's weird. The singer, like I live with the singer now, but I've known him since he was 13. So the last 10 years of his life were like a foundational, like that's an entire foundational period of me knowing him. Not that at 16 I'm not still like going through foundational changes, but it's interesting to like have kind of hit a fork in the road where like I went to college and he was doing other stuff, and then we kind of came back together, and like I was just like, let's try this thing, and we're both incredibly passionate about it now. So yeah, Craigslist band worked out.
That's crazy.
It's actually crazy. Like I didn't know any of them before Craigslist.
Now you mentioned before there's thematic, like literary elements to these last two. Do you want to get into those? And who does the majority of the writing, or is it just collaborative completely on that?
So lyrically it's
song-wise.
probably 95-99% the singer. He might show me stuff and I'll dabble in like talking to him about it, or like I don't like to take ownership of like his words or whatever, but I will be like, I don't know about this part, like occasionally, but maybe 1 out of 100 times that he shows me something, I'll feel that way. I trust that like what he's trying to convey is authentic and honest, and I definitely don't like to step on that. The riffs are 99% me, I would say, and That's fun. The literary themes, I would say, are largely me. The singer does definitely, we definitely bounce ideas off each other in that. But the title of the last record, I Carry My Awareness of Defeat Like a Banner of Victory, is something that's been rattling in the back of my head for a long, long time. And we wrote these songs, and I remember talking to the singer about titles and what we were going to do, and I remember just being I think that this could work, maybe this and that, and he was like, no, let's just do this. And it was something that I had shown him a long time ago, and I was like, that's perfect. I think it perfectly fits this dismal hope, I guess. It's not uplifting, it's but it's not nihilistic. It's this middle ground of being serene in the catastrophe, I guess. It sounds kind of corny, but
Peace at wartime.
yeah, it's I think it's a very heavy sentence, and I think you can take a lot of meaning from it. But that's a line from a Portuguese poet, philosopher named Fernando Pessoa. The book that's from is he would write on napkins and note cards and all this stuff, and it was just strewn in his room and in chests. And after he died, his family members put it together in what they thought was a chronological order, and then published that as a book. And that line is from this book. So it's little snippets, and that's just one of an entire day snippet is just that line. And I just thought it was really powerful, and that's kind of where that comes from. The one that comes out soon is called Tell Me What You See Vanishing, and I Will Tell You Who You Are. And that is from a poem by W.S. Merwin. Next record is called Tell Me What You See Vanishing, and I Will Tell You Who You Are. And it's from this poem that not everyone will like, but I think that line is very impactful, and I think it's not analogous, but I think it bounces off of the previous title. It's a little more emotional feeling, I think, but it applies to the lyrics and the song titles and what the singer and I think felt like we've been going through, and how the riffs and the music and the lyrics all work together, about how we're kind of vetting things in our lives and moving forward and kind of trying to be less destructive to ourselves, I guess. And not even in a physical way, not we're both alcoholics and trying to quit drinking, just kind of trying to be more positive and moving our lives forward, I guess.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, does living with someone in your band, does that present any stresses, or do you just keep band time separate, or do you find yourself talking about the band in everyday life?
Yeah, does the band become a constant?
I don't think it's ever been an issue. I think he and I help motivate each other. The last few months, obviously, I've been doing tons of stuff to this upcoming release. So I've been on him about doing stuff because he's the one that does layouts. Mm-hmm. So I'll be at work and I'll be like, did you do the sticker layout? Did you do the cassette layout? Please send me the layouts. They need them today. But I don't. He might think differently if I say I don't think there's been an issue. But I do think that we just help motivate each other on that kind of stuff. It feels positive to me. We talk about stuff every day, or we might be sitting there and be like, oh, I have this idea for the next record, or we'll bounce ideas all the time, which I think is good creative space, but it doesn't prevent us from doing everything else, which is just living.
Yeah.
I'll say it's pretty rare that I'm in my room and I'm like, hey, I have this riff idea. Not good at riff ideas off the cuff. So very rarely is there a musical idea that we talk about, but it's concept. It's bigger picture stuff. what can we do to like be more of what we want to be. But we also just do nothing all the time and carve pumpkins and stuff and make apple crisp, so it's healthy.
Cool.
So, would you want to talk about packaging?
I'd love to talk about packaging because
Because
it makes me so happy.
on the DIY level, you're crushing it over everybody else.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm really, really humbled by people being excited and like seeing what I have and not just being like, but really, really enjoying it and feeling like my mental investment has paid off. And also shout out to everybody who's helped me do stuff, because obviously I can't do like half of it alone, but so many people have enabled me with these types of ideas. So should I say what we're talking about specifically?
Yeah, sure.
So we're 100% talking about the Woodbox LPs, number one.
Yes.
Yeah, so with the 12-inch LP, we made wooden LP jackets where the album cover is burned into the front, and like our trademark-ish, whatever, design, logo is burned into the back. And we've done this for all 3 records. And there are probably 2, maybe 3 people that have all 3, which is cool. I don't have all 3 because I didn't think the first one was going to get us any notoriety. So I was like, you know what? You want it, like you can have it. So we made 8 of the first one, which is nothing. 0.
Yeah.
That number is basically 0.
Yeah.
And one of them got resold. One person.
Do you know who it was?
I don't know who it was, but I know who got it.
Okay.
Because they messaged me about it. They messaged the band asking how many were made because someone sold it them or gave it them as a gift or whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. There's 8 of them. Can I have one, please? 10 of the second one, and we did 20 of the last one. It's kind of a big investment, and the person that makes them for me is an absolute sweetheart for doing it. I will shout them out. Their name is Jamesy. They live in Boston. They play in the band Wimp. Thank you. They're like, I can't tell you how helpful that's been to like our notoriety.
Do you know what the process is for that? Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Just...
So, well, they work in a wood shop.
Okay.
And this is going to make it sound less cool than it is, which is a computer takes the image and burns it into the wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
computers are cool.
yeah, it's they have.
It's no fashioning in a kiln or anything.
Yeah, it's not like the person sat there and etched every one or something.
Yeah.
But they still all come out crazy. The newest one is definitely the craziest one by far. Something about the way the stain and the sanding works.
Each piece of wood, too, is different.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you're not going to get the exact same thing. Yeah.
Right. On these new ones, like the sanding and the staining added color. So like there's green and brown like gradients throughout like the grasses and stuff on the record, and they
Wild.
are insane. I did keep one of this one. I decided it was time for me to start keeping the stuff that I did.
Or at least keep track of where the other ones are, so that way someday you could just be
Yeah.
like, "Who's hard up for money?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So those are like the number one, obviously.
Super fans only.
Yeah.
And then you have a tour that's all booked and set and ready to go.
It's booked and set and ready to go.
Knock on wood that nothing
Yeah.
happens. Do you want to talk about the tour at all?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
We're doing. I'm just gonna rattle it off.
Sure.
So, Manchester, New Hampshire, Boston, Massachusetts, Hamden, Connecticut, Brooklyn, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Lansing, Michigan, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, and Toms River, New Jersey, from November 7th to November 16th. Be there.
Your Hamden shows. That's the Intercourse show.
Intercourse at the Space.
Yeah. Who's opening the show?
Gorge?
I don't know
It's a
Gorge.
newish band. Newish.
I don't know them either.
I haven't
don't.
really heard them. I just seen the name on a few flyers.
We'll all be checking out Gorge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how about influences musically? Who are your influences for the band? Like, what were you, like, you know...
What was I thinking about when I was...
Yeah, what are you thinking about?
You want to talk about the elephant in the room?
The thou thing?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
I'm sick of the comparison. It's lazy. It's low-hanging fruit. Yeah, we named ourselves after the band, but, like, Also, sorry, I love the band Thou. Let's not... I don't have to mince that part. Obviously, we named ourselves after a band that I love, but,
One of the nicest bands to ever play in the store.
have they played in the store?
They played in the basement, and they were super nice.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I mean, we haven't had bands in the store in
8 years
8
ago, maybe?
years,
Yeah,
probably.
so long time ago, but they bought a lot of classic rock, and they were great.
Yeah, see... That's what I'm
We've
talking
had the opposite experience too, but they were great.
Yeah.
So it's a good influence.
Yeah.
In all respects.
And they've been incredibly sweet to us. We played with them at the Flywheel. I made a joke about whether or not they hated us for it. It's fine. Like, it's cool. Everything's great. I'm gonna never get sick, I'm always going to be sick of people making that reference, because I just think it's easy and I think it's lazy, but I get why you would do it. We're slow, but I think we're very different.
I think it's because the riffs are loose sometimes. Like, you have play there where other sludge bands are just letting things ring out. I feel like you've got a little bit more southern twang to it.
Yeah, there are times when we do have the southern twang, so I get that, and I mean, but that comes from listening to Crowbar and I Hate God. Like, it's not because I was like, how will I replicate this Thou riff today?
Do you have any personal New Orleans connection?
Zero. None.
I don't know. For all I know, your family's from there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm New England forever.
Just happen to love some of those bands.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like my first favorite band ever was Iron Maiden. That, like, streamlined into Baroness and Mastodon from loving, like, guitar harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I was like, well, where can we go? And that, like, took me to Kylesa and Black Tusk, and then
You ever get into Demott?
Yeah. That's, like, kind of where... That's where, like, the world became huge for me. Is, like, once I hit, like, Kylesa, I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, and that like... Georgia, right? They're all from, like, Savannah-ish.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, like, totally blew my mind, and then started finding, like, smaller stuff that was, you know, in that vein, and trying to go heavier for a while, and, like, oh, what's heavier than this? And that gets old when you're like, what's the heaviest thing I could listen to?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, love Thou, but... we kind of play shows like a hardcore band, in my opinion. So I think that's kind of a weird comparison. But yeah, huge influences on the way that I write music. There's a bunch of obvious ones, but like Neurosis, Graves at Sea, Trap Them. It's a huge influence for me.
Trap Them, one of the worst bands to play the store. Bunch of ungrateful guys.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that.
It was also part of the reason being that they were supposed to play a show down at the Wham Leg. At that time, talking to the guy that ran it was if you can get in touch with him kind of thing. And I think they had some sort of miscommunication where they didn't really have the hall booked. So we moved it to our basement, and no one was happy about it that was playing the show. One of the bands just went home.
I don't remember who that was.
I can tell you after. I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah. But, like, they're from the area.
How long ago? Years, give or take.
10.
Yeah.
Right.
Forever ago. Doesn't matter.
Trap Them had maybe 1 or 2 records out at that point.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But like, Wet Blanket's about playing a basement.
Yeah.
I get it.
Which is funny because the size of our basement is not that much different than the size of the Wham.
Right.
But Neurosis, one of my favorite bands, his
All
too.
time great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen them as many times as I can.
Oh yeah, I have a Neurosis sleeve that you can't see because I'm wearing a shirt.
I don't
but-
think I have no Neurosis tattoos. I'll have to remedy that.
Yeah, you really should.
Favorite member of Neurosis?
Yeah,
Our friend John really loves, what's his name? I can't think of his name. The keyboard guy.
The red hair.
Yeah.
That video of them playing
starts-
Star at Ozfest.
Yeah. What's his
Why? His name starts with an L?
I forget. Anyway.
Fuck it, drop it in.
Our friend John loves him so much. I can't even explain.
He does work in that band.
Everybody in that band contributes a lot to that
You
band.
make an interesting point.
Yeah. But, like, the way he has his foot pedals set up on a
Yeah.
stand so he can
punch
slam them and
yeah.
hit them and
Yeah.
stuff, John loves
It's
it.
very theatrical.
It's
I like
great.
it a lot.
It's really great.
Did you catch the show they played at College Street a couple years ago? They played with Amon Ra. He's wearing an Amon Ra shirt.
No, I was on tour. That was Converge Neurosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was on tour at the time and didn't go, and it breaks my heart to this day.
Amon Ra was great, and no one was in the room.
I saw them at Roadburn 2 years ago.
Oh, wow, you went to Roadburn.
Far and away, one of the best live shows I have ever seen in my entire life.
Sick.
Yeah. I mean,
They put on a good show. It's unfortunate not that many people in the room.
they're referred to as the European Neurosis for a reason.
They are arguably more intense for me than Neurosis. Seeing them at Roadburn, they played the headline stage.
I mean, it's something you can't remedy, but like Neurosis these days, they're old men.
Yeah.
they've mellowed out.
But
yeah,
in some fairness, Amon Ra's only 10 years younger.
yeah.
Like they're doing this weekend they're doing a 20-year anniversary show. So I know that Neurosis' first record is 89 or 91 maybe.
It's earlier than 90s. It's in the 80s. Yeah.
89 might be right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Something
that.
like
Obviously
that.
they're
Hard living. That's
yeah, for sure. But yeah, Amon Ra have another huge influence, especially on our first record, because I had just come off of going to Roadburn when I started to write that record. Just the way that they build intensity is unmatched, and I've seen them a few times now, and they do like the black and white thing is like their theme, and just something about the way they work dynamics without it being boring, without me feeling like I'm chugging along.
Yep. You can get lost in the YouTube cycle of their videos.
Have you seen every album they put out? They do a big theatrical thing for it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The one where he's there's like Ritual 3 or Ritual 4. They play with I think Hessian and Oathbreaker open the show, and at the very end, the last song, he walks off stage and they're playing this just heavy chugging riff. A bunch of people from the other bands come out, and the singer of Oathbreaker comes out, and they suspend him in a crucifix formation behind the stage, and as the song drops back in, they raise him up behind the stage, and he's in a crucifix, literally suspended by hooks in the air, and then the song just cuts to black, and that's it. It's insane. It's there's no words. It's just insane. And he's not 20. He's almost 50.
Yeah. Amon Ra's good.
Amon Ra's good. We all agree. Consensus. What about growing up? You grew up in Westfield, you said, and what was your first show and your first record bought?
My first record bought was Hot Fuss by The Killers, and the first show I ever went to was Iron Maiden.
Oh wow!
Yeah, my dad brought me to see Iron Maiden with two of my friends, and he hated every moment of it.
Just because of you and your friends, or he doesn't like Iron Maiden at all?
He likes Iron Maiden at all. He's kind of whack.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I don't think my dad likes Iron Maiden at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that was my first show, and every time they've come around, I've seen them again, and that band puts on a show.
Yeah.
It's corny for me to still like think it's sick, in my opinion, a little bit. But like it's sick. They put on a show like.
As far as that type of stuff goes, there are none better.
Yeah.
Like I went to the New York show of the most recent tour.
Mhm, yeah.
And it was sick. It was like a greatest hits tour because they weren't really promoting.
They're
an
not
album.
promoting anything. They played 15 songs. 12 of them were songs that I wanted to hear, and I was like, "This is
And
sick.
different set pieces for
Yep.
like everything.
Mhm.
It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I have like, it's just cool. They're just a cool band, and they were the first band that I ever like gave a shit about. I was a paper boy from age like 10 to 16 or whatever, and I had probably, if you could think of it and it could be made in an Iron Maiden way, like everything. I had every record, like I had legitimately like 20 Iron Maiden t-shirts. I would wear one to school every single day, a different one every single day. Like that, I was that kid.
Do you still have this collection?
I sold almost all of it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I had like a couple shirts and like a couple like deep cut stuff left, but I had like crazy versions of records, like, you know, like Japanese picture disc, promo copy only, like stuff like that I ended up, after college, I sold on eBay for like $200. Like just wild stuff that took me like 10 years of being like a kid on eBay to search and find.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's not bringing me any joy anymore. But I will still go see the band every time they come around.
Marie Kondo. You Marie Kondo'd your...
I did my collection.
Do you read those articles about them playing soccer? Like whenever?
Yeah, they play soccer like all the time.
Yeah, but like I didn't realize it was whenever
they set up matches against local teams.
I had no idea it was like every time they land, like they get off the plane and they go play soccer.
Every time Bruce lands the plane.
But how did no one ever make like a regular series cartoon about like just the misadventures of this band?
I don't know. That would be great though.
Yeah,
I would watch that.
They're still too like quote unquote scary for like radio play and like serious stuff.
That seems nuts to me.
I know, but they're really. I know that they're mainstream. Like I know that they are. But how often?
I mean, they're selling out arenas, so yeah.
How often do you hear an Iron Maiden song on the radio, though? Right?
You
don't.
The radio, you hear nothing. You just hear the same fucking shit over and over again. But when you think about Iron Maiden songs, you know, it's a clean, beautiful vocal. Like it's like there's like not like you're not dealing with like crazy distortion,
straightforward
or, like,
stories.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Nothing all that wild.
Yeah.
When you really break it down.
No.
But like, for some reason, it's heavy metal. Like, you know.
Yeah, so what was your first like local show though?
What was my first local show?
Yeah, what brought you to punk?
Ish.
Probably something at the waterfront. Does that ring any bells? Really? Oh,
Vaguely?
Legendary. It's like the Acacia strain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how I feel too. Probably some like deathcore like style metalcore show. Not that I would have enjoyed it, just that I was probably there.
I don't know. There's a time I probably would have enjoyed it.
The early 2000s.
Yeah.
Definitely not that. I mean, I was born in '93, so
yeah. Okay.
I definitely probably didn't go to a show, quote unquote, like a show, until end of high school. Maybe I'm kind of a late bloomer. I was kind of a loser in high school. I would say senior year or like freshman year of college was probably when I like first went to a show. So when I went to UMass, and when I started going to UMass is when I started going to shows a lot.
Okay. So what year does that put you in?
11.
Like 2011?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had released a band CD who played with the Acacia strain all the time. So I'm trying to think when I saw them was probably like would see them all the time would be like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
I was 12. That was too much for me at the time. It's too much for me now too, but
Yeah, well, I started going to shows too early, and now I can't put any sort of date into perspective at all. Like, I started going to shows at 12 regularly, and now I can't decipher years.
I mean, I also can't decipher years, but that's not true of me. It's just getting older.
I guess there's that too.
Yeah.
Fuck.
you're making me want, like, I don't know what the first show I ever went to was. It might have literally been one that I played, like a basement or like a punk house, like probably.
What was the first like show you went to that made you say like, I want to do this a lot?
It's a really good question because I played and went to a lot of dumb ones before.
Right.
Like as I'm.
Because I can remember I can actually remember the first like punk show I went to. Could tell you one band that played it. It's not a notable band. Actually, I can't even name the name of the band. I can tell you that the dude that was in the band wrote Change Scene, which was a punk zine in Connecticut in like the late 90s, early 2000s. If it even made it into the 2000s.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. But anyway, that show was unremarkable otherwise. But yeah, so did that give you time to think about it?
Yeah, it actually did. It actually totally did. The first show that made me want to do this, I think it was either a one-off or it was on like a weekend or for the first band that I played in that played like quote-unquote shows, which was called D.I.Y. And we played in Albany with this band called Grady Styles, and they were like a Scrams band when that was like a big thing for a hot second. And those were like the first friends I ever made playing a show. Like there weren't that many people there, but it was fun. And then we went back to their like apartment after and hung out, and I was like, oh, like we can have fun and we can be friends and we can hang out and like it can just be like this wholesome time where like everybody plays music, everybody has fun at the show, and then like we hang out. And it's just I can make friends this way. Like this is how shows can be. I don't have to like play at a bar. Because I think until I started playing a couple shows like that, I thought it was either you were playing at a bar or you're playing at an arena. And I didn't understand that there was a middle ground or a thing other than those two places. It didn't occur to me that there was this world where you didn't have to be involved in either of those things.
Well, depending on the time period, there's often like a gap of DIY spaces. Right now there's a glut of them. Mm-hmm. But like, 10 years ago there wasn't, I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, things come in waves like
Yeah. Exactly.
But I was just unknown to me. Like, I've always, not always felt like, but sometimes DIY is like very hard to break into.
Yes.
And like, I don't want to say I felt like the other, because I really didn't know that it was a thing. But even like coming into it, I felt like an outsider, and it took me some years before I was like, I can go to a house show. Like, I belong at a house show. Like, it's okay for me to be here. And that's not anyone's fault. Like, I don't think that anyone made me feel excluded.
It comes from both sides. Like, from the inside, you're skeptical of outsiders. Mm-hmm. From the outside...
And you have to be.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And especially when it's a private residence or, like, club that you have to know someone to...
Yeah.
Quote-unquote club. DIY space where you have to know someone to figure out where it is. And then...
But that's certainly...
From the other side of it, like...
It's certainly something to turn a 15, 16-year-old kid off is like, I have to approach the band to ask them the address.
Yeah, it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
And it could turn you off.
Yeah.
But it's just, you break through.
Yeah.
And like you said, you find out if it's where you belong.
Right.
And some people don't.
Yeah.
And they know it and it's fine. Or they don't know it and it's not fine. And then you have to deal with it.
So what's the festival you guys are playing?
Stoned to Death.
What's that about? I don't really know it at all.
It's stoner metal and death metal. Stoned to death.
Has this happened before, or is it a first time?
It's the fourth one. We played last year. And it was fun. I had fun.
Who else was playing?
this year, headliner Scissor Fight. Who else is playing that?
That's a very. Where is this happening?
Vermont.
I
mean,
was
they're
going
New
to say it's a very
Hampshire,
New Hampshire
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
But
What's that other stoner fest that happens at one of those up there states but like it involves camping?
I don't know. Sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't
yeah.
know the name of it.
You're thinking of the other fest that he puts on called RPM Fest.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Yeah. It's just like metal.
Same.
Because when you
same
said that,
organizer,
when you said that, I was like, man, it's late in the year to be camping.
Yeah, no. That was like a few months ago.
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
like August, I would guess.
have you been to that?
I've not been to that.
Neither have we.
Yeah. Guy that puts these shows on is very nice. He's a sweetheart. Last year we played at like, I want to say like 3:00, and which, as you can imagine, is probably not like the best time slot. But
What time does it actually start?
I think like 2.
Okay, so yeah, that's early.
So we were fairly new. I mean, we didn't earn a spot higher than
Sure.
that. I'm not saying that we did.
Yeah.
But like we're a pretty good band, so I felt like I didn't feel cheated in any way, but I was like, we played a really good set. Like we've earned better than this. We're gonna do better. But this year we're playing like what I would consider to be the best time slot, which is not last, but it's third to last.
Yes.
Because
On a festival, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually think it's the perfect slot. I'm so stoked. I'm backlining all my cabs for everybody, so I don't have to worry about using someone's broken Marshall.
Sure.
And I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I love
That's
it.
sick.
And that venue is awesome. It's at the
What's-
Stone Church.
Okay.
It's a church that has been repurposed into a venue. So there's like stained glass windows, and it's a church. So like the acoustics are impressive, and it's awesome.
Has it always been there, or is this
The church has always been there.
No, I mean,
the venue
the-
is some years now.
the
Okay.
fest?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know.
This year and last year,
Okay.
kind of new to this metal scene. Like,
I'm just wondering, if it's at a church, and stonings are happening. Could have been some different wordplay for the fest. Is all I'm saying.
Where are you playing in New York on this tour?
St. Vitus.
You're playing St. Vitus.
I got some beef about it. If you
Why?
want to dive into that?
What's wrong? You don't like St. Vitus?
No, the whole tour was booked around that show because
Okay.
I wanted to play St. Vitus. So I reached out to St. Vitus first. It was like, when can we do this? When can we do blah, blah, blah? Picked a date. Great. Awesome. Nothing for 3 months. Booked the whole tour around it. He called me like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. Not to malign this venue. Best place on earth. Not to malign the person. He was very sweet when he called me. But he was like, hey, this band is playing a show the night before and it's sold out. And their promoter needs a second night. So it's going to be the night of your show. What can we do? What can I do to make this up to you? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, can we push it to a different day? And I was like, I booked a whole tour around this show. He was like, well, I can find you another venue, or we can do a matinee. And I was like, Sunday, holiday weekend, I got to ask everybody else. Because I booked all the other bands. Like, one of them's from Ohio. Like, I can't just make this decision
Right,
for everybody.
right.
So I asked everybody, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, this is what we got. And so we're going to play the matinee. Which is fine. I'd rather be at a show that's over by 5:30 anyway. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little bummed.
It's
that
not
this,
ideal.
This is the way that it played
What's
out.
the late show that night then?
I don't remember the name. I probably will never listen to the band simply because of this. They're like a post-punk band is all I could tell you. They're a post-punk band from like the 90s or 80s or something, and
Man.
it's a reunion tour.
Anybody can look it up.
Yeah.
Probably look it
You
up
could
later.
look it up. It's whoever's playing at Vitus on
the same night
8th
as
and
Yeah.
you
9th.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? Who did you put together for this show?
Sunrat is playing from Jersey. They're internet friends of ours that are very similar musically, but we've never met. And then two other bands. One is like a black metal noisy kind of band from Ohio called Christmas, also an internet friend of mine. And then the last band is called Slowly Melting. They're like a noisy kind of thing. The kid in that band makes guitar pedals under Dirge Electronics.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a cluster of like internet people who've kind of all known each other for a while. So it was cool to curate it and be like, this is the like it was going to be the album release show initially, and then we decided to book the tour around it. So it's no longer that, but it's still like a very curated event for me.
That's cool. I'm sure it'll still do good.
It's going to be fine.
Everything seems to do fine there.
Everything
Everything sells out.
Always will be fine. Everything always will be fine.
Every show sells out there.
Every show.
Just about.
It seems like a lot of them do. It
It
seems like when it first opened, it didn't all sell out, and I can remember being there. And
It was a different
there being
setup.
Some walking room and such.
There were
But
those weird.
I can't remember the last time I've been in there where I've been like, I want to stay in this room. Because between bands, I always want to leave that room that is like
Yeah.
overcrowded and whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember when there were those circular booths back there?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's before my time.
It wasn't that long ago.
I mean, the bar hasn't existed for that long.
Yeah.
It's only like, and it's probably older than I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking 5 years.
It's more than 5 years.
More than 5, yeah. But still not that long.
Not that
As
long.
long as the store's.
And like they used to have like separate doors in between the bar room and the back room, and so they would be checking ticket wristbands inside. Like it was a mess. But now everything is super streamlined, and it's the perfect venue. It's definitely the best place to see bands that I want to see in New York.
Yeah, 100%. Which is part of like that's why I wanted it to be there. Like I've seen all of my favorite bands that have ever influenced me at that venue. So like it's truly a humbling, exciting thing for me to be able to play there, which is part of the whole thing, the allure. So I'm really excited either way.
Good. I think you should be. Sounds like it's going to be a great time. Do you want to tell me about covers?
Love covers.
I could tell.
I love covers.
I love covers too. Your cover choices seem to veer from your aesthetic. But
keep going.
They're good choices. Like I like them, and I think you guys do a good job with them. But it just seems like
You're not covering other metal bands. You're covering non-metal bands.
You're covering non-metal bands and making them metal.
Yeah.
And that's cool. How do you decide to choose that? Like, how do you choose the songs that you've chosen?
A lot of riffs should have been metal. Like straight up.
So when
does the Death Cab cover not feel natural to you? Because it feels incredibly
It does,
natural.
and I will bet. Well, I saw you guys play twice last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And there weren't many people at that Fistula show, but I was like, no one here realizes this is a cover.
Right. Right.
Because it's done super well. Like it's just like you do a really good job with them. So like, more like so like that's what it was. Is like you heard the riff and you're like, this should be metal.
Okay. No. That is my overarching answer.
Okay.
Because like I've got more in the works, obviously.
Yep.
But that one I've never really listened to Death Cab. But Sam really likes Death Cab and was like, Paul, I want to do this one. Like, check this out. And I was like, yep, that's it. Done. I'm not even thinking twice about this. We're doing this. Because it's sick. You slow it down a little bit, and I was just like, I was all in. Like, immediately all in. The Devo cover, I just really like Devo, and I wanted to do something, like, again, that song is basically an original. It's not really a cover. Like, it's a cover only in, like, theme. Because, I mean, I did learn the song the way it's supposed to be played, and then I ruined it. So, I kind of know how to play it, but all those riffs are, like, original. They're not, it's not like, there's no one-to-one relation.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is what makes covers good. Like, if you a band reinterpreting it.
Right.
But I was just like, this is, it's not that it seems out of place, but it just seems like to tell someone that, like, yes, there is this metal band that has this aesthetic and they sound like these bands, but then to be like, oh, they cover Death Cab, it's like no one's going to understand it until they hear it.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be boring if we covered Electric Wizard?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like-
No, 100%. I love the idea. I love what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just wondering if there were, like, how you got to that point.
It's just fun. It's fun as hell. It's fun as hell to take a Death Cab song and be like, love this song, let's do it. Take a D.I.Y song, love it, let's do it. I got a couple in the back of my head right now. Thinking about doing a Pearl Jam song. Thinking about doing a Rod Stewart song.
Well, there's only one good Rod Stewart song.
What one is a good Rod Stewart song to you?
Young Turks?
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Let's fucking do it.
That riff, the
Yes.
na-na-na-na,
Yeah.
has like, so tune that down to drop A.
Okay.
Play it about 1/8 the speed, and we're all in.
I can already hear it. It's great.
Yeah, right. Right?
hear
Can't
it.
you imagine it?
The Pearl Jam thing, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to hear that because I genuinely don't like any Pearl Jam songs.
There's one Pearl Jam song that I like.
Okay.
We'll wait
Yeah,
to
we'll
know
wait
what.
till we hear it.
Yeah.
We're just already psyched about Young Turks.
I recently started cultivating a perfect songs playlist on Spotify.
Yep.
Started with like that and a few other ones, and I just started hammering stuff onto it. I think that's a perfect song.
It is. We keep a 12-inch of it behind the counter.
Do you?
Yeah.
I wanted to name this record "Young Hearts Be Free Tonight," and nobody would let me. And then I was like, "Well, let's do the LP," and everybody was like, "I'm not loving it," and I'm wondering how often we can make references to things that aren't ours before someone gets mad at us.
Does everyone else appreciate
I mean-
the song? Like, does everyone else appreciate that Rod
I would
Stewart
say
song?
at least half of the band appreciates the song.
Okay.
I will not speak on the rest.
The rest are suspect.
Yeah.
So, you could cut me off if you don't want to talk about this, but I know that you licensed the songs.
I did license the songs. Yes, thank you for noticing.
Well, we didn't notice, but like I was told, and I.
Oh, yes.
What-
I know why you were told.
Yeah.
Continue. Because
What made you do that? Like, what made you like take it to that point?
the risk reward factor. I paid
Okay.
$50, and now no one's gonna hound me. And if someone
Yep.
does, I can be like, "Here's the license."
Yep.
I lied. Like you have to pay by amount of physical that you make.
Bleep where he said I lied.
Okay.
Let's not null and void what your $50 agreement.
So I just straight up was like, "This is how many we made to make it the cheapest license I could buy."
Yep.
So that if anyone ever asked, I could be like, "Here's my license.
Uh-huh.
I purchased the rights to publish a cover of this song." Worst case scenario, they'd be like, "Oh, but it looks like on Bandcamp you put out 200 copies. We need $40 more. No one's gonna go that far."
Yep.
So for me, the $50 is better than the alternative of fucking Warner Brothers sending me a cease and desist or something.
Yep.
I don't think it would ever happen, but I also never thought we'd even put the first record out on vinyl. So I'm
Sure.
just kind of checking the boxes.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed by it, and I also didn't think like I figured it had to be some larger number than like some unreasonable number.
Yeah.
So
It's super attainable.
I think that's cool, and probably made pressing the vinyl a lot easier.
They never asked. They straight up never
Depending on what plant
Yeah,
you go
depending on
to.
what plant you go to.
asked.
They
What plant do you guys use usually?
right now we're using
We're using
Burlington.
Okay, fair.
But I've used United in the past, and they've definitely sent me several forms, like signing away, like you own all of this, correct?
Yeah,
you know.
for sure. I've definitely signed that stuff, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't. So it's like whatever. Whatever. Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm out of questions. You got anything?
How's working at the post office? We didn't talk about your actual job, day job.
I genuinely, I really like my job.
I love the post office.
Yeah, we were
Love
talking
it.
about this before we started recording. But Paul works at the post office. What is your position?
I'm a supervisor. I supervise mail carriers.
In what town exactly?
In Enfield, Connecticut. It's fun.
It's a system that blows my mind
It's a
all the
system
time.
For like 99% accuracy gets a lot of shit for 1% failure when it is
It's way
a
less than
feat-
1% failure.
It is a feat of humanity that a letter gets anywhere on this earth that is supposed to go.
Like, no joke, we've shipped over 100,000 packages, and I think you could count. You only need like 3 fingers to count how many have actually been lost, and like some of those were actually at least 2 of those were international issues, which weren't even the post office fault. That's whatever other postal system's fault. And to watch sometimes with tracking on media mail packages where they bounce East Coast to
9
West Coast,
different places, yeah.
I
But they get there.
yeah, they get there.
They get there.
And, you know, sometimes they get there super fast, and I'm like, how the fuck do they do that? And then you ship a package to somewhere in Connecticut, and it'll literally go across the country twice before it comes back and into the next town over.
Listen, we make mistakes, but they'll probably get the package eventually.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's happened only once where this has definitely been run over by a truck.
Well, there was the one time we just got the baggie with the address labels.
That was an
Hate to see
international one.
Was that?
That was international. Yeah.
Okay.
That was some I think it was Indonesia. But that was 6 months later we got the envelope in the back.
I've had that too. I sent a box of 40 records once and got that back.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
no.
then, I spent
There's
$200
There's
just
40
to
records
ship
in
that.
the ocean.
Yeah. It was, the plane just tipped over.
Whatever
Did a
happened.
barrel
Yeah,
roll,
yeah.
dropped just my box and kept going.
Ugh.
Do you ever get the stories about what has actually happened?
I don't think there's ever a good story. I mean,
No, I always a tornado ripped through that area. I wonder if that's where the package got fucked.
well, I'll get heavy for 1 second.
Sure.
Which this will apply specifically to what you're asking. In my office, it was late August, we had a mail carrier that got in an accident. Someone hit him and killed him and destroyed the mail truck. So all of those packages are destroyed, and we get customer calls, and it's called an ECC case, and it'd be here's the tracking number, where's my package, and I'd have to call them and be like, it's gone. There's literally nothing I can do in this scenario. It's gone. You have to call the sender, and maybe they'll replace it. So that kind of thing does happen.
Yeah.
That's obviously a crazy specific example. But natural disasters exist, or all those things do play a factor. Rarely is it it was delivered next door and then he ate it. And
Yeah.
So now you're not getting it back.
Could you answer me this?
Yes.
Sometimes we'll drop off we'll drop off 100 packages.
Yeah.
And some of them will.
Do you give them a slip with all of them on it? Or-
No.
Yeah, well, that's your fault then. Sorry.
Well, it's not. Sometimes some of them will be. The tracking will be scanned that day in, and sometimes the tracking won't scan in until it's delivered at the door at the final destination.
It won't, you won't see any update.
You'll see
until the end.
It'll say pre-shipment until the day it arrives, and then everything
then
will
you'll see
dump.
everything?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, the dossier thing. That's what they told me we needed to do in order for them to pick up our packages.
Yeah.
To have a driver come and do it. And I was like, nah, I'll just drive them 2 blocks up the road.
How many are you doing? Do you do them a week or a day?
Well, we drop them off every day, but Monday through Friday. But we probably ship 300 plus a week.
Oh, okay.
At least. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, they're lying. Someone could come get them,
Oh, okay.
but they just are probably annoyed mostly.
It's honestly, it's right up there.
I get it. I
It's
get
not
it.
hard.
And
for
when
us
you're
to do.
both of you are normal, easygoing people, at least I feel that way.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be like, "What the fuck? You mean you won't come get these if I don't do this fucking thing? Fuck you. I'll go with someone else." Which is what people do to us.
Yeah.
People do to me all the time. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not sending someone at 6 o'clock at night to come get it because that's the time you want. I just can't work with that.
Yeah. And also, you cannot beat the USPS postal rates. They're unbeatable.
They actually are. Media mail.
Media
has
mail.
saved my life.
Media mail is what's making punk happen.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. The day that's over, I quit.
They said UPS sent a rep here once to see what they could do for me, and I showed them what I paid per package. And they're like, "Yeah, we can't do this."
You were like, "Yeah, I'm paying like what $275 as a minimum for media mail, I think."
Something like that. But like like a single LP is like $317.
Yeah.
And like they're like,
Unbeatable.
"Yeah, they can't touch this."
Yeah.
It's great. If I didn't work here, I'd work for the post office. If they'd take me.
We'll take anybody.
Good place to stop.
That's a great PSA, right?
Yeah.
They'll take anybody. All right, thanks for being on, Paul.
Thank you.
Having me.
Well, is there any like web addresses or any other thing you want to direct people to before?
When is this gonna come out?
The first.
of
The
November,
first?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the I think we only said the name of the band one time. Chain to the Bottom of the Ocean record came out on October 25th. The link is chaintothebottomoftheocean.bandcamp.com, and they'll probably be sold out by the time you hear this, but email me and maybe you'll push a repress.
Thanks.